thank you for helping me to ease into my transition till the 8th decade of my life. Hard to believe that this much time has passed. I suppose I could decide, like my husband, to push back 10 years. I think at 70, he decided to be 60. I have much better reality testing. As my son said, Dad, for 70 you look okay, for 60 you look like hell. Sorry our kids can't be here. We will rendezvous with Seth and Shannon and hopefully my brother-in-law and sister-in-law in La Jolla in March. Seth
Very nice.
is his birthday present to me. And as I mentioned to a few of you, I said, oh Seth, that's too much. How about if I take half? Erwin got a stomach ache. My girlfriend Roberta said, are you crazy? He can afford it. And so I have accepted and hope he agrees to the original offer. I need to go with it. And Rachel, unfortunately, has a really hard time getting permission from her slave labor marketing firm, but we had a wonderful birthday celebration in November with her and a whole group of friends. And she and I will do our annual overnight at the Charles Hotel in Boston.
All right.
You're all very special people in my life, and Mike's. So many of you have become our extended family. We have shared holidays with you and sat at your tables many, many times for Rosh Hashanah and Passover, Thanksgiving and Christmas. In fact, I think we have a lifetime contract with the Brislins for that, which is great. And New Year's Eve. We have shared very special anniversary celebrations with people whose anniversary is a week ahead after ours, but haven't yet tallied quite as many years. We have attended the weddings of 3 couples who are here today. First, the Brislins, the Nashes, and the Bradys, who we had some small part in bringing about. And Margaret, we have never discussed the founder's fee. After the party, we'll all need to work this out.
I think Bob should pay the founder's fee.
Finder's
Finder's fee.
Both of them.
We have attended your children's weddings. We have shared. Let me turn the page. Okay. Page turner. There we go. We have shared dinners and movie dates, sometimes excruciating performances at the Yale Red. Trips into the city, a wonderful girlfriend excursion to Chicago, where my friend Nancy, who I don't think of as a particularly aggressive person, said, could you get us better groups? It was at the old hotel in Chicago. What was that?
Palmer House.
The Palmer House. And they said, sure, go out for lunch. And we came back for lunch. And we had the best rooms in the house. Nancy, however, had shades and a fireplace. I did. And we have had significant new decade birthday parties for many of you, and most recently, a retirement party. You have all provided wonderful support in the last few years as a super healthy hypochondriac for the first 70 years of his life after he had some real health issues. You have listened to me complain, you have visited the patient, you have brought food and good cheer. I have tried very hard to come up with a way to show my appreciation. And I hope you agree that what I have come up with matches your care, concern, and devotion. We all hope that Mike has no more health issues, but should he need another hip replacement, or develop a bad case of flu, or have a psychotic break until he actually gets elected, there might be some more time needed for recuperation. I'm going to award 2 very lucky couples that are here today, one from table 1 and one from table 2, the opportunity to be his caretaker for the first 2 weeks. recuperation. Holiday on a cruise or taking a vacation, at the spa. But there are certain criteria that I had to really take seriously. One was proximity to New Haven, so I could visit once in a while. The essential ingredients in your liquor cabinet and the ability to make Mike's martini the way that he likes it. And I need a little audience participation here, and I want the rest of you who don't already know. So, Margaret, can you share with everybody?
Sure.
The way Mike likes it, and she is another martini drinker, but
Well,
so much easier.
Much easier. I use ice. But the best hostess for a Mike Martini starts with, I guess, Beefeater's gin. If there's another kind, you'll have to tell them. But you put it in the freezer about a week ahead of time. The day before, you put the glass in the freezer. And when he arrives, if you're a bad hostess, you just point him to the freezer. Or you could bring it all out, pour the gin into the frozen glass, and hand it to him. And preferably you have lots of Trader Joe's jalapeno stuffed olives, because that's his meal basically. His hors d'oeuvre all goes into the drink.
Well, you
So.
know, almost qualified, but not quite. Getting a week of recuperation.
Well, you can't live on martinis alone.
Yes, you can.
On the olives, yeah. The olives has
And
the fat
most
protein.
important is to be an admirer and lover of Gracie, so she can make daily
Unqualified.
visits. So you have to realize that, you know, it's hard, given the 3 different criteria, that sometimes one had to be sacrificed because the other 2 were more significant. So, under the flower arrangement at each table, you'll find a card with the name of the winning couple and the recuperation week that you are assigned. Please don't feel bad if you weren't selected. If you work on your attitude towards Gracie and you know who you are, you can overlook some of the other criteria.
Who picked the winning couples?
2 winning
It's not
couples.
arbitrary?
No, it's based on the criteria. Are you listening, Tom? It was based on 3 criteria. Okay. Finally, I would like to thank my husband for this wonderful party. Many of you who know Mike well think of him as thrifty or frugal, or perhaps another word. He brags that he buys his clothes at Home Depot, and sometimes we couldn't believe that. And takes no small pride in his 1999 Mercury Marquis, which guys he really loves. I hate to tell it, but he loves his car. However, as this party idea evolved from maybe a weekend to New York, which over Christmas is not a lot of fun, to maybe dinner with another couple, and finally to a party at the New Haven Lawn Club, the tables were turned for once. I was the one who worried about the expense. And Mike's insisted you're only 71. Now, following Mike's model, I could, of course, be 70 one more time. So I want to thank my husband at 47.5 years for this wonderful event. And I am so very grateful, and I think probably you all are also, that there is no party room at Home Depot. That's what I was thinking. We all might be celebrating there right now.
He could have found a way to do that if he really wanted
And
to.
as a frequent shopper, you're
Yeah,
thinking
exactly.
perks, right?
Sounds like a good business plan.
So
Yeah.
I want to thank you all for making this day so special. And I don't have my champagne glass, but cheers, l'chaim, and a happy and healthy New Year to all of us, and many more wonderful birthdays for all of us.
Here, here.
And sit down and eat, so this is your last opportunity, because there will be.
We're ready.
Okay, I have two of these. One is from our daughter Rachel and our son Seth. And I'll start with Rachel. And I will read these. Sue is my mom. As far as I know, Dad always said that I was adopted. Sue seems to remember the event more clearly. I'm sad I can't be here today, but I wanted to share some of my memories. I live in Worcester, 100 miles away, but miles don't matter. If anything, I'm inundated with cards, packages, and other things that would not be as plentiful if I lived in New Haven. I never know what to expect in the mail, whether it's a Dunkin' Donut gift card, a Degas postcard with the artist's name circled and highlighted, or 3 packages of socks and underwear. Apparently Sue knows there are no Walmarts in Worcester. I absolutely love the notes that come with the latest fiction finds, such as "We encourage literacy and reading," or "Mittens with a note attached to keep your hands warm in Worcester winter." Though we live apart, Sue, always the overprotective mother, reminds me not to ride my bike home in the dark, or to use, to quote her verbatim, quote, "a little common sense," close quote. Sharing some sibling humor, Seth says that I should tell Sue that I was already run over on Tuesday, so the odds of it happening again are remote. Side note is it already had happened once. My favorites, though, are the random cockamamie articles clipped from Tuesday's New York Times science section, usually with certain paragraphs underlined and notes in the margin. I am coached on the side effects of certain medications and schooled on how to counteract them. As if I didn't know exercise was good, or that consuming lots of carbs was not conducive to weight loss, you think? Staying at Mike's and Sue's house for a couple of days can be fun, or sort of like a root canal, depending on the day. When reminded to do simple things like pack or take my meds, I just have to ask, how do you think I function the other 364 days of the year? Mom can be bubbly and cute in many ways. I work at a call center, so I'm accustomed to talking loudly. So when I'm on the phone, Sue will say, "Please talk softer, you're hurting my ears." We were at a restaurant, and she actually took a piece of bread off my plate and put it back in the bread butt. I won't tell Ingrid. You can't do that in Germany. You take a piece of bread, that's it.
You pay for it.
Yeah. Speaking of eating out, I'm treated to lunch at Maury's when I visit. The bed in the guest house is turned down, and there often is a little gift such as pretty earrings. My laundry is done. My trail of crumpled sweet and low packets is picked up. At dinner, I'm served flank steak, a Sue's specialty. I earn my keep by shoveling snow, raking the leaves. This is clearly fiction. Or setting the table. Or locating random misplaced items such as Sue's reading glasses. It's also an unspoken rule that I walk Gracie. If I walk Gracie, I either get a biscuit or a cookie. Sue sometimes confuses me and Gracie, depending on which one tracked mud in the house or made a mess. I could fill a book with Mom's kindness and generosity. There's never a dull moment with Sue. Mother, friend, rabble-rouser, Jill of all trades. I'm proud that she is my mom. In the summer of 2014, she broke into a house in Woodbridge with her book club buddies, claiming that all houses look the same. True story. Over the years, I have only grown closer to Mom and realized how lucky I am. In planning a January visit, I asked her what exciting things we could do. She replied, quote, "Anything that does not get us arrested or deported." Okay, next are Seth. Excuse me, greetings from Seattle. Since I can't be there to celebrate her 70th with you today, please accept these thoughts about the woman and mother I've observed to be during the 44 of those 70 years that we've shared. My mom is intellectually curious, fiercely loyal, and quick to laugh. She loves books, art, dogs, brunch, dry white wine, weekend getaways, time with friends, her children, and my father. She has maintained friendships across decades, some dating back to grade school, has lived happily in the same house since the waning days of the Nixon administration, and has proudly defended her hairstyle against the fickle headwinds of changing fashion. What do I remember most? I remember long car trips together to the Midwest and shorter trips to see my grandmother on Long Island. Her distress when my 3-year-old sister swallowed a penny and had to be rushed to the hospital. Negotiations over cereal brands and bedtimes. her pride in fitting into her Gloria Vanderbilt jeans for her 40th birthday.
No more.
There's a side note here. Dad, if there's anyone in the room who doesn't know, you can explain that Gloria Vanderbilt is Anderson Cooper's 94-year-old mother and the great-great-granddaughter of Cornelius Vanderbilt. Care packages were sent to St. Louis, Vermont, Paris, and Seattle. Insightful discussions on my poetry and English curricula, and less insightful discussions on the geography of my next adventure. Quote, maybe we can drive to the Grand Canyon for the weekend and we'll visit you in Seattle, close quote. Her and my father's joy at my wedding, dozens of visits to see us out west. Like all of us, Mom has her quirks. Many of the most persistent and charming are revealed when she dines out. No burger would not be improved by arriving on 7-grain bread.
Toasted.
Most French toast fails to measure up to the poke holes in the bread and soak overnight standard. And even La Bernardine is not immune to, is this fresh fish line of interrogation. But her most defining and endearing quirk is her uneasy relationship with technology. During my infrequent visits to New Haven, I'm greeted by all manner of devices blinking 12 o'clock. VCRs, answering machines, digital clocks. But the crown jewel is her mobile phone. Outgoing messages are disabled. And the device turns off except when making outbound calls. Using a flip phone form seen only on Law & Order reruns. She has tamed the 24-hour onslaught of digital connectiveness, reducing it to a $50 a month traveling phone booth. So from Seattle, happy 70th. I love you and know that you've been a great mother and mother-in-law, and we are counting on you to play this role. Shannon and I look forward to celebrating with you in March. Meanwhile, I'll talk to you later in person on the home phone. Okay, thank you.
This is a recommendation. I'm going to tell you, last night we were watching the Roosevelts and Into the History of Ken Burns thing, which I'd recommend you all see. And last night, a lot of it was about the original relationship of Franklin and Eleanor, which is really interesting. I mean, here you had this guy that went to elite Ivy League schools and became a lawyer and was fairly self-centered and demanded that his wife do everything possible for him. And she, a really interesting wife. I mean, she was quiet, very well educated, did a lot in her community, did everything she could for him, and she became very successful. And of course, she got into the White House as a result of this, and a lot of these kind of marriages don't end up like that. And when Mike and I got to be close friends in law school, and when I met my wife, my third year of law school, the first thing I did was take her out to see Mike and Sue, who both told me what I heard from all my friends, which was basically, you should marry her, and why would she want you? And I've always thought that, I've had the same view about some of the women that married my friends at law school, but I've never really said much about it. So I don't want to go any further into that. I communicate with Seth through email, who's fascinating to listen to, obviously, who we've known, at least I've known since he was born. While we were, I guess, third-year students in law school, and I've kept Seth alerted to Mike's problems, physical problems, and how his mother is dealing with it. And I made some comment to him recently about, it seems like your mother is like trying to do more things outside of the house now than she used to. And Seth's reply was, I'm surprised she hasn't been taking long trips. But to be serious for a moment, when you know, Mike and Sue have been friends of ours for a long time, as I know they have been for a lot of people here. And one of the great things, going back many years, which is certainly true for most of us here, is that, like this is a crowd. I mean, today we were driving down from Bedford down Greenwich Road, and there was a guy on a bicycle that gave a left-hand turn signal, and probably everybody here can remember, when you took driver's lessons, what the left-hand turn signal was and the right-hand turn signal before you had turn signals on cars. But and we've become close friends over the years, and one of the great things about these long-term friendships is how you get closer and closer over many, many years, and it becomes a part of an extended family. And it's been a great source of pleasure, I think, to the two of us, that two of our friends, Tom and Sue Igo, who are our neighbors in Darien, have become close friends of the Eisners. I think they go out more together with each other than they do with us. And Bob Brady was my best man, who was my first day at college at Notre Dame, lived across the hall. So of course we got to know each other. And he was introduced to his wife by Mike and Sue, and they've become close friends. And at least if nothing else, I think we've picked good people to be friends with. And so I want to thank you for having us come here today, and just say, regardless of what you've had to put up with your husband for many years, that he's just a wonderful guy, and you're just a wonderful person, and I'm so proud that you're our friends. We've been able to stay close for all these years, and I hope it goes on for a long more time.
Thank you.
One footnote to that was one of the things that I loved about Sue when I first met her was that she and her friend Doris hated Eleanor Roosevelt.
Doris hated the way she spoke.
Well, and as Tom said, Mike, Suzanne, I think mostly, and Mike introduced my wife to me, Margaret, 40 years ago. And I remember she tried a couple of times to set this up, and it didn't. I didn't show up once, or
A
I
lot
was
of
late.
times she was married.
Well, this was after she was married. That's another story too. So, but finally, when we did meet, she called and said, "I'm having this cookout on Labor Day. It's at 1 o'clock. Be on time." So I was on time, and thank you very much. It's great being friends for 40 years.
Oh, we were out in the little porch, right?
That's right. And every time I'm there at your house today, I look at that. I say, that used to be a porch, and that's where I met my wife. Thank you.
And it has been a long and very happy marriage with a wonderful daughter living out in Seattle as well. Something about Seattle or us. Sure. Well, enjoy.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you all.
I was just gonna say that I can corroborate everything here. First, Tom about Davina, it's all true. I remember the people and all of that. Suzanne did introduce Bob and me, and Michael likes to take credit, but I don't think he had anything to do with it.
That's when we
Bob,
talk about Finder's fee.
I think we asked you when we got engaged, and that was,
Well, we're such good friends, so we're gonna ignore the 35.
Now, latches applies. Yeah.
yeah, what about inflation?
5% compound, all by the wayside.
Okay. Anyway, what else can I corroborate? Rachel was not indeed adopted because I was called upon to babysit for Seth the night that she was born. It was a Saturday night. She was born on Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday, I think.
Sunday,
Yeah.
okay. Because I'd been at Princeton at a football game. Not with my date was not a Princeton undergraduate, but I had a great time. It must have been late enough that the great time had sort of worn off.
Oh, we hope.
Well, I mean, she's alive.
Just like the beginning,
You know,
right?
they're alive when you come home. I did my job. Yes, and just that we all lived on Central Avenue. Seth used to chase my cat into the backyard. My cat was terrified of Seth. But,
So were many other children.
oh, well, probably that's true. Anyway, I'm happy to be here, and happy 70th birthday. And I don't know if anybody wants to sing, but I'm sure Bob would be happy to lead the chorus.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sue. Happy birthday to you.
Luckily, there are no candles for me to blow out. Well, this has been a wonderful day. perfect weather, fantastic friends. Cannot think of any way any of you could improve, except of course about Gracie. And the only good thing is that Gracie, perhaps not being the smartest dog on the block, is eternally optimistic that one day you will appreciate what a fantastic dog she is, and she will not have to be shut up in the bed to be that.
Susan, you could move to the Netherlands. My sister has just informed me her husband will have to go and visit his mother. They have a dog who cannot be alone. So Denzel, their dog, will go to the hairdresser with her on Monday, and Monday afternoon he'll go to painting class with her. And on Tuesday morning, he will go to a flower arrangement class. So,
Very cultured
Mike,
Yeah.
let's just move, okay? Gracie can go wherever you go.
I'm
That's
a
it.
little afraid that Gracie is maybe not quite up to snuff. Some of that, but we'll get in touch with Peggy.
Okay.
You can take her to restaurants at home.
Yes.
Not Gracie. She does not like one of those Parisian dogs sitting quietly under the
Under the
table.
table.
And that's a good thing.
It's a wonderful thing.
We want to know if our dog, I don't think so. Sorry? We wanted to know if our dog would